Hey everyone, Atiba Hutchinson here. You guys have seen me do many interviews over the years. A lot of it has been repetitive, but this one is going to be straight from the heart, and I'll tell you all about my career.
Atiba! It had to be! The legend of Atiba Hutchinson continues to grow!
Atiba, we've had a lot of these chats over the years in various hotel conference rooms, stadiums, and pretty much all over the world. But we want to make this one a little bit different. This is your chance to tell your story to Canadian fans one last time. You ready?
Let's go.
All right. Atiba, 8,721 days ago, you stepped into a Canada soccer camp for the very first time. That was August 3rd, 1999. As far as I can tell, it was an under-18 camp coached by Bruce Twomley. What do you remember from that camp, and what can you tell us about Atiba as a young player at that time?
Yeah, I mean, just extremely excited to be having that opportunity to represent Canada. I always dreamed of moments like that, and I was just extremely, proud and happy to have been selected to go out there and, be one of the selected few players to, put the jersey on and, fight for the country. So proud, very nervous with, the players around me, and just, a player that was ready to, work hard and just cement myself in football.
I know we jumped ahead to your first call up there, but obviously your journey started in Brampton. You come from a Trinity family, a football family. What are your first memories of kicking at football, and ultimately what are the kind of factors that made you into the player you are in terms of your childhood?
Yeah, just playing on parks just around the corner from my house, growing up with my friends, just always out on the pitch having fun, competing, playing small little games just to get better and to learn. But it was just all about the joy, just having fun, just being out there and kicking the ball around with my father, working on our little technical stuff, passing drills, and a first touch, and just trying to get better and better, not knowing where it would lead me, but just enjoyed being out there on the pitch and playing in my local clubs there, and a lot of competitive games, winning the leagues, losing sometimes, and just making me the player I am, and just learning in that aspect.
Was there a moment in your youth amateur career where you thought, hey, I could really do this at maybe professional level and maybe go on to play for the national team?
Yeah, I think when I started getting a little bit older, probably around 11, 12 years old, I was one of the better players in my age group, and then just knowing what I could do on the pitch, and the confidence had been building, improving as a player, learning the game, playing alongside some good players in where I was locally, and then you just start having that that dream, so to speak. And since I was young, I really always wanted to play professionally. So yeah, at what point, I would probably say when I was around 13, 14, and you start getting selected for the province, representing Ontario, and then that belief grows more and more, and you get the chance to represent the youth national team, and that's where it really kind of took off for me.
I think the first time I remember watching you, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot of Canadian fans, was that Under-20 World Cup in UAE. An amazing team. Yourself, Ian Hume, Josh Simpson, a number of players that went on to have senior careers for Canada. You guys made it all the way to the quarterfinals of that World Cup, lost in extra time to Spain, who I think went on to win the competition. Just talk about that tournament, such a special team, and I'm sure special memories for you.
Yeah, it was a great time. We were a team that had been together for a few years. We had very good relationships with each other, a good bond, and when you're younger, you don't get a chance to play against other teams around the world. So that was our first chance at playing, in a World Cup, and kind of seeing where we measure to the rest. And yeah, we played some good football in that tournament. We had some good players on the team that went on to have really good careers, and to see us match up against some of these other countries, it was kind of gave you that sense that you can play at a very high level. Although it's only under 20s, I think it was good for us. It was good for me at the time. I kind of looked at some of the players that were playing with big clubs such as Iniesta, and just knowing, okay, that's where you need to get to. So yeah, I think that helped us a lot. It helps the younger players for sure, playing in the under 20 World Cups.
I want to progress a little bit. January 18th, 2003, in a match against the U.S., somewhat ironically, given that you'll end your career against them tomorrow. Your first cap with the men's national team. What did that cap and that game mean to you?
Yeah, special cap. And yeah, that's pretty crazy. I actually never thought of it that way, but yeah, for it to be my first cap back then and my last one now, it's really cool. But yeah, I was just so happy. I was very nervous playing in that game, but I enjoyed every moment of it. I enjoyed every moment of being on that pitch, representing Canada. We didn't get the result, unfortunately, but I was just, coming off that pitch, I felt like, I was on top of the world, getting my first cap for representing Canada.
I think like so many of us that grew up playing football in the 90s and I guess even 80s and maybe 2000s in Toronto and in Canada, there weren't a lot of outlets. You had a brief spell with the York Region Shooters, you played a bit for Toronto Lynx, but ultimately you went on to Europe, and that's a continent where you went on to make 483 professional appearances across 19 seasons. Just talk about that first jump to Europe and just that change of pace and what it was like making your way to Sweden and trying to make a career in Europe.
Yeah, for me it was a great step. As you said, there wasn't many outlets in Canada, so I had been trying out with a bunch of different clubs in Europe, and I wasn't lucky enough to get a contract with any of those teams, and I was given that opportunity in Sweden. Yeah, for me it was the perfect step because I was able to go somewhere where I could play week in, week out. Obviously with a lot of work, nothing is given to me, but I had a team that believed in me and gave me that chance. So playing at that level, learning how it is in Europe and what it takes to be there and stay there, I think that helped me a lot. And just playing, I think I played around 26, 27 games that season, really helped me so much, and I feel like I got better and better, and it just continued from there.
You started in Sweden and then quickly moved to Copenhagen, where I know you really burst onto the scene. Danish Superliga Player of the Year, a number of titles in Copenhagen. I know that's a special club and a special memory for you. What do you take away from your time in Denmark?
Yeah, Denmark was a great stepping stone for me. As you said, we won a lot of championships there, and to get that feeling of playing for championships, winning championships, it's really special, and it kind of builds you as a player. You learn from that. You learn of what it takes to be playing at a high level. There's a lot of demands from a team like that, and just to be in that position, it helped me a lot. I learned so much from the coaching staff that we had there. The coaches, were very good, very tactically aware. So I learned the game in that sense of being more tactical, and played alongside some really good players, players that have been playing in the Premier League and La Liga. And for me, it helped me so much as a young player to be playing alongside these type of players, and then week in, week out playing to win games and winning championships was a great step for me. And right away we played in Champions League. I think it was 6 months after I got there. We won the first championship, and then directly into Champions League. So you get that feeling of playing on the highest stage. So for a young player, it just helped me so much.
And Denmark wasn't just about the football. You met your wife there, someone that's gone on to be such a big part of your life, and ultimately someone you started a family with. Talk about meeting Sarah there, and I guess that chapter of your life kicking off in Copenhagen.
Yeah, amazing, and that's why Denmark holds a special place for me because of everything that it's given me and me meeting my wife there. We moved over shortly after meeting in Denmark to Holland, and we spent a few years there, and everywhere I've gone, she's been right there behind me, supporting me throughout the way. She's been a huge support to me, pushed me along the way, and always been 100% behind me, no matter how things have been going with my football. And I think that's always important for for anybody, for any player, to just have somebody strong like that behind you, and the love that she's given me. And we've, like you said, started a family in Turkey. So yeah, just great to have her along the way with me throughout my career.
Yeah, you touch on Holland, but I want to talk about PSV, obviously a famous club in terms of European standards. You had a great spell there. What do you take away from PSV and all the great memories you had in Holland?
Amazing times. It's a country where it's total football. So for me, one of the first things I really remember is how much they emphasize on the correct pass and the correct touch, the way to position your body, and receiving the ball, and just all the small details were just so important for them, and to have that as a player. So that really took my game to another level. As I said, in Denmark, it was a lot about tactics and just being organized, and then you have more of the technical aspect that I got in Holland, and the possession-based type of football that they play there. So it was very decisive for me to play there and continue to develop as a player.
And if we're going to talk about the club career of Atiba Hutchison, no more important club than Besiktas. I know it's a place and a city you've come to love, and certainly having been there myself, I know they love you back there very much. What do you take away from that 10 years in Turkey? You started a family there, turned into a bit of a legend in that city. Just try to describe what that's all meant to you.
Yeah, it's been a special place for me. As you said, I've been there 10 years, and they've been very, very welcoming of me from the moment I got there. They didn't know much of me before I got there, and one of my first games, I was told that to play in Turkey, you got to show them that you're a hard worker, and that really gets you in the right side of the fans, and they really noticed that, and that was me as a person, as a player. So I really wanted to go out there and just show that I wanted to fight, work, and they loved it from the first moment, and with the chance that they had been doing for me, and I just seen right away that that they liked me, and yeah, everything about it. The country is so passionate about football. They love their football so much, and the support that Besiktas has, the fan base it's unbelievable. So for me to get that chance to move to Turkey, to be a part of that culture, to see how big football is, to play in those stadiums that I had played in, unbelievable stadium, and winning championships, playing in the Champions League was something that I'll never forget. And as you said, my kids were born there, we raised a family, so yeah, it's for me, it's been home away from home for me.
Before we come back to the national team, I want to talk about your farewell to Besiktas. In your second last game, you scored a penalty, I think 12 or 13 minutes into extra time, making you the oldest scorer ever in the Turkish Super League. You had a great moment with the fans, and then again at home in your final match. Talk about saying goodbye to Besiktas and all the emotion that went with that.
Yeah, just very, very emotional. It would have been something I was thinking about for a little while now, knowing that I was getting close to the end of it, and just when I got to that moment, kind of just hits you hard, when it's time to say, goodbye and thank you, for everything that they had given me, and just to see the love that they have for me, and the support that they had for me was truly amazing. So yeah, I mean, I scored, in my last game playing for Besiktas. After the final whistle, we took it back because of VAR, and just a cool way. You couldn't have, written it any better for me to end my career in that, that sense. So, yeah, tough time for me at the end, but at the end I was just, very happy and very blessed for everything that had happened in my time being there in Turkey.
I want to come back to Canada now. I think what will stand out in my mind and in the mind of many Canadian fans is the fact that during an era where the team wasn't doing so well, where I suppose other players chose not to come in and play for Canada, every call-up, every camp you were here, even playing Champions League football, you made time to come back and play for Canada and represent your country. During those darker years where I'm sure it felt more difficult than it feels now to come play for Canada, what kept pulling you back, and what gave you that kind of sense of responsibility you showed to come back and represent the country the way you do?
I think there was a number of things that always made me, come back and play for Canada. Canada had, given me so much, the opportunity, as I said earlier, that, I had been playing with the youth national teams, and it's a way for me to be seen. And then I ended up playing with, with the men's team, and another way to, put yourself out there and playing on a big stage where, clubs are looking. So I think for me, without playing for Canada, it would be very hard for me to have made it out into Europe. So in the back of my mind, I've always wanted to, to give back to Canada, and a lot of things such as Canada not getting the respect that I felt, we deserved. Back in the days, we were looked at as a team that knew nothing about, soccer. And that had always, stayed in the back of my mind, and I just wanted to see that change, and I wanted to see that people had noticed that, we can play some good stuff over here, and I think over the time, we got better and better, and yeah, over the last 4 years, we've just kind of taken off. So those are some of the things that just always kept me coming back and just wanted to represent, the country.
Canadian football has changed a lot since you made your debut with the national team back in the 90s. What stands out for you as the biggest change in the Canadian football landscape?
I think, to be honest, I think now it's just a belief. We really believe in ourselves, and we believe that we can play with the best countries in the world. Obviously, the confidence comes when you start winning games and you start playing some good football, but yeah, I think that's the biggest change now. Like, we go into games now knowing that we can win. It doesn't matter who we're playing against. And before it wasn't that case. We would show up to games and not knowing how the game would turn out, and not really going after wins against whoever the opposition was on that day. And now it's completely changed.
I want to talk about the recent run with the national team, obviously highlighted by the World Cup. It's a competition you worked your whole career to get to, and at the very last try, I guess, you got there. I think back to 2016 in Vancouver, when you walked off the field after that game against El Salvador and that campaign for Russia. I think many of us thought that would be the end for you. Talk about this second life you've had almost with the team, and the Qatar run and everything that meant to you, finally getting this team to a World Cup and ultimately leading the team out with the armband at the World Cup.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought it was over the cycle before. I didn't think I had much left in me, and at that time I had some issues with my body, and I didn't think I would be able to get past that. And I was fortunate enough to continue playing for Canada, and I've just seen this whole program go full circle. We've just turned things around. I think the coach has been a huge part of that, and it's just been very amazing, special to be a part of it, and just to see how much we've gotten, how much better we've gotten as a country, as a footballing nation. It's just been really cool to be a part of. I'm so happy that I continue to stay and represent the country, and like you said, that chance to have played in a World Cup, which I didn't believe would ever happen, was just amazing.
coming towards the end here, but I want to ask a few fun questions before we let you go. You've experienced so much in your football career, and I think people are very interested to know what you make of some of these questions. So here we go. Mm-hmm. What is the best atmosphere you ever played in?
A couple different ones. I mean, derby games that we've played in. Are you talking national team?
National team, club career, whatever.
All right, so we'll do both. National team. Playing in the World Cup, I mean, just the energy in the stadium was just amazing, and just to know what it meant to people in that stadium, to people around the world, was amazing. I think if you look at like just CONCACAF, I would say probably the Central American countries are. I mean, the atmosphere in those stadiums, playing in Honduras' stadium, I mean, the constant buzzing that they have, tough places to go to and get a result. Extremely loud with the horns blowing from the first minute to the end of the game. So, yeah, those Central American countries are always, very hostile, difficult, tough atmospheres.
And what about club career? You mentioned Besiktas, but I imagine some of those Turkish derbies.
Yeah, for sure. The Turkish derbies are like something that you don't get to see too often. It's just a lot of noise and the whistles and everything. You can barely hear yourself think at times. So I'd definitely say, the derby games and Champions League games as well, because that's when the fans just decide to take it to another level, because they want to put themselves out there and make sure that the opposing team doesn't think they're coming to your stadium and getting a result. So they're at their ultimate best.
Love that. Who would you say is the best player you ever played with?
Best player I've ever played with? Oof. I've played with quite a few good players. Talent-wise, just like ability, Ricardo Quaresma, amazing player. I've played with Dembaba, like a world-class striker. Mario Gomez, just like lethal in front of goal. I don't know if there's one in particular I would say, but a few good players. And now we've got guys like Alfonso, world-class player. He's got the future ahead of him. One of the biggest talents in world football. So, yeah.
Love that. And who would you say is the best player you've ever played against?
I've played against, I don't know, I think in Champions League we played against Napoli and Hamzik. I mean, he's maybe not like one that everybody would think is, one of, a real world-class player, but we played against them when the team was a very good team, that Napoli team, and just him with his movement, his intelligence, the way he's seen the game, you couldn't get close to the player. He was very, very difficult to mark, always, playing off his shoulder and taking up positions where it's hard to really, maintain him. So I would say, I've said it many times, he was one of the better players that I've played against.
What is your favorite memory from your Canada career?
I've got two. Qualifying for the World Cup and playing in the World Cup. For me, those will be, some of the most special moments of representing Canada.
What's the biggest regret from your Canada career?
Biggest regret? I don't know if I have any regrets anymore. I used to. When we didn't qualify and we got beat pretty badly. I felt like maybe in that game I could have given more, and that stuck with me. That game against Honduras when we lost 8-1, where we had the chance of just getting to the last round, to the hex, needing only 1 point, and you just feel like we felt like we fell short and maybe not had given enough. So I had, just regrets on, maybe not doing as much as I could have in that game. But yeah, now we've played in a World Cup, so that kind of just gets left behind.
2 more in this section. Second from last. If you could go back and relive one memory from your Canada career, just for the sheer joy of being there again and feeling it again, what moment would that be?
Again, that moment that that whistle went by, the referee blew the whistle, and you knew that we were going to the World Cup. For the first time since I've been with the team, and the first time in 36 years. That relief that we all had. The pressure was finally off your back, and just to know the joy that the whole country, was feeling in that moment, the joy that, we all had as a group, something that you dream of when you're a little kid.
Okay, Atiba, last one for this fun section. There was a famous moment in 2007, and a hashtag was born. Hashtag Atiba was onside. So after all these years, and given that we'll play the Americans in another big knockout match tomorrow, were you onside?
Without a doubt. I think for me, that's still one of the worst calls I've seen in world football. No question about it. I was onside. The goal should have stood, and the game could have been a lot different, I think, if we had scored that goal and it counted.
It's a perfect segue to that last section. We're going to play the Americans tomorrow. Canada's first final in 23 years, a first chance to lift a trophy in a very long time. What's it going to take to get that win tomorrow?
It's going to take everything. We're going to have to put everything, bring our best, work tirelessly on the pitch for each other, stick together, and just do all the things that we've been doing over the last 4 or 5 years. But it all has to come together tomorrow, and we have to be hungry. We have to want to give all, leave it all out there on the pitch. As you said, it's the first time in so many years that we're in this position where it's one game away from a trophy. So that belief that we always have, we need to go out there and have that, and trust each other. And if we do our thing and do what we know we can do, I think we have a good chance at it.
And very finally, I think, Atiba, if your journey says anything, it says that anything is possible, that if you persevere, you can achieve your goals. There's a whole country of young footballers, both boys and girls, that will watch us and look up to you as a hero. What do you think your journey says about what is possible for young Canadians and young Canadian footballers?
I think in my career, there's always, it's never been a straight line. There's always been, ups and downs. And I kind of just have always figured out a way to get out of, the bad periods and, move on from that, learn from, the days where they don't go good, or may it be a result that doesn't go your way or a performance that doesn't go your way. You just get back to, what you know best, believe in yourself, trust in yourself, give your all, give your everything, keep working, and don't let anybody tell you that, you're not good enough or you can't make it. So just, always having that belief in yourself and, just working hard.
Atiba, all being well, you'll make your 105th appearance tomorrow. You'll hopefully lift that trophy at about 8 p.m. local time here tomorrow in Las Vegas. I think I speak on behalf of all of Canada when I say thank you. Thank you for your graciousness with your time and ultimately your dedication in representing this country. We thank you and good luck tomorrow.